going to a little bit more of a high bounce wedge with the open face can help, because sometimes when you default to the 60 and you open it, it doesn't work as well.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Kerrod Gray here on the practice facility today at Raptor Bay Golf Club in Southwest Florida. Standing next to me is Erika Larkin. Erika Larkin is a prolific online instructor based out of Creighton Farms in Virginia. And she has a YouTube channel and Instagram with a bunch of great tips. And today we're going to be talking how to improve your short game for the mid-handicapper, her 3 big keys to encouraging a more proficient strike and getting some shots closer to the pin. You guys are going to love this. Stay tuned. This is really going to help. All right, Erika, so let's just talk about these short shots. We're going to talk about this 15 to 20 yard little pitch shot onto the green, slightly raised above, and then there's a little bit of a rollout here. So when working with a mid-handicapper, what sort of technique changes would you generally make with someone who's struggling with their short game?
So I think that I see it a lot is a lot of stabby misses. So there's a misconception about the size of this shot being close enough to the green that they want to treat it like a chip, and they just have way too much shaft lean. So I think letting that golfer understand what the release mechanics are, really feeling the weight of the club and letting the club swing through in a way that that face and the bounce can work for them, that's when the light bulb goes off, that they can really pinch this ball in a way that can elevate the trajectory and not just like hit it hot across the green. So that's really the main theme of these lessons that I'll give here.
So when I'm setting up to this golf ball, someone who's generally stabbing at the golf ball, we would see that they would have the golf ball back in their stance. Right. They've got the understanding and sort of the intention that they want to try and hit down on the golf ball.
Correct.
Right? And you would have heard that. Well, it makes sense. You've got to hit down for the ball to go up and the loft do the work, but that changes the angle of attack, doesn't it?
Correct. We're trying to come in much shallower, but then again, we have a big enough swing. Sometimes I think people associate a bigger swing with being steeper. Yeah. So if we can get that golfer to get the club moving ultimately around their body a little bit more, and coming in, even though from a high position, shallow enough, that's how they're gonna really get that club moving, like sliding into the golf ball, and that's gonna create that spin that we're looking for.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Looking at the delivery right, even on just that one that I hit there, you can see it was very shallow. I didn't really dig into the ground too much.
Correct.
So let's talk about ball position first of all. So if I'm facing the camera here, would we like to see the ball position off the back foot, in the center, a little bit further forward?
I like it a little bit more forward of center.
Okay, great.
And then I like the stance a little bit open, not just stance width, but also alignment of the feet. So a little body facing the target, preset, that front foot staggered a little bit back. And so by default, when we get the shaft, ultimately a little bit kind of opening and the face a little opening, if we slide our bodies over to match up with the shaft, that kind of puts you into a front ball position. So that's my move.
Yeah, fantastic. And there's such a difference between the full swing creating the compression and distance, and then there is as opposed to the short game. Right? And
we're actually looking for low smash here.
Correct.
We don't want to smash the ball.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So
different.
Using the sole and the bounce of the golf club rather than the leading edge, which really is the big killer when it comes to these sort of shots, getting that toe digging in. So what you're saying with the ball position a little bit further forward, stance a little bit open, that just allows that club to glide through the grass a little bit better.
Exactly.
So that's the setup.
Club selection too, like, you know, I've got a low bounce, high lofted club, and then my gap wedge actually has more bounce. So depending on where you're from and what the conditions are and what wedges you have in your bag, going to a little bit more of a high bounce wedge with the open face can help, because sometimes when you default to the 60 and you open it, it doesn't work as well. So I think that club selection is also an interesting piece of the puzzle. People always think they want to hit the high soft shot, they just grab their 60-degree wedge. But really, like, opening up a gap wedge or opening up a 56 with a little bit more bounce, to me is almost smarter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sure. Like, we see too many players try and get the 64-degree wedge because they need the loft, but a lot of those players are turning that 64 into a 9-iron just by the way they're playing it. So right here I've got a 54. If we actually set the handle back, which Erika has just described so eloquently, open the face a little bit. Well, now all of a sudden you're turning this 54-degree wedge into something more like that 64 anyways.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
we've got a shallow delivery. We're
Yep.
ensuring that the setup as such is encouraging a little bit more loft. So let's just talk about the final piece of the puzzle, which is like distance control. So instead of coming down and stabbing it, how do we figure out how far I need to actually swing this golf club to get the distance we're looking for?
So because it's low smash, right, the feeling of compression is very light on the face.
Correct.
I think you have to trust in the fact that we have to generate enough ball speed with the swing size.
Right.
And that's why this shot is hard for a lot of people, because when they're not confident in their delivery of the club to the ball, they don't feel confident making a big enough swing to do the job with nice, relaxed tempo. So to me, it's about like lazy tempo, but a big enough swing size to deliver the club head speed that you need to carry the ball the distance that you want. And so smooth, slow, I call it being on cruise control. There's no like fast moment to me. When you get fast and you get quick to try to add spin, it always backfires for the average golfer. So there's a time and a place to do that, but for this basic kind of shot, don't get fancier than you have to get. And just smooth, even, very symmetrical swing size, and find a speed for your backswing and keep the speed all the way through. Don't get faster, get longer. It's not, again, swinging harder or getting quicker. I think that's like the biggest thing people think they have to do is get real handsy and very quick.
Accelerate into that ball.
No acceleration.
No.
If the body keeps pivoting through impact, you get natural acceleration. The arms and the club are just riding the rotation of the body, and then it's very evenly distributed through impact.
One of the analogies that I love to use, right, is kind of like a wrecking ball in motion. Once it reaches the sort of the apex of the top of its swing, coming back down and swinging through, there's a significant amount of force due to the weight of the falling object, which creates momentum for an impact.
Yeah.
And we see far too many players start to try and accelerate into the ball, and as soon as they do so, the handle pushes forward, we de-loft the club, and before you know it, you get these numbers that just go a couple of feet in front. You don't want to do that too many times.
No, it comes back to, are we swinging the club or are we hitting at the ball? And if there's any part of the golf game where we want to truly make like a pendulum swing, other than probably putting, this is it. This is like the ultimate pendulum model, in my opinion, when you have these soft little pitch shots around the green.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to put it all together. Use Erika's words of wisdom here. I've got my setup, shaft feeling nice and neutral. This beautiful soft guiding the weight of the falling object swing. Let's see if we can knock it inside those four that we've got there.
I love it.
Close. You're a great teacher.
On command.
Thanks very much,
Dude,
Erika.
great job.